So I actually am going to start off with a question for all of our panelists before we dig into some of their specific work. And that is, I'd love to ask all of you, we are 2 weeks today out from actual election day, although I know early voting has started in lots of states across the country, but 2 weeks today is election day. So I'd love to ask about each of your initial responses to the role of the Latino vote in this election. Sonja, if I could start with you, and then Clarissa and Camille, I'll ask you to chime in as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Big fan of the work of the Institute and obviously the union and the role of teachers in our democracy. This question is pretty simple to me. The role of the Latino electorate this election is prescient. It's going to decide not only who occupies the White House in January 2025, but control of the United States Senate, the House of Representatives, state governments in all of our states, local issues, and of course, reproductive justice and bodily autonomy in a number of states that have referendums. What are the role of Latinos? Well, Latinos live in all 50 states. Latinos are going to be consequential on all of those issues, even in states that are not battleground contests, like New York and California. Latino voters are going to determine really the path for Democrats towards leadership in the House of Representatives, or conversely, the Republican maintaining their control. Now, in terms of the presidential election, I think that this is really a fascinating year because we see that the battleground states have changed. They've changed since 4 years ago, and they certainly have changed since 2016. In 2016, when Hillary Clinton was running against Donald Trump and Donald Trump was running the first time, Arizona and Georgia were far off in the horizon. That said, Democratic Party leaders were doing some mobilization in those states. They now, going into 2024, are quintessential battleground states and are the very states that have sent both of their U.S. senators from the Democratic Party to the U.S. Senate, and that is because of Latino voters. Now, Latino voters in Georgia are part of a coalition, if you will, that is really founded and driven in large part by the Black electorate. Now, they've coalesced with other similarly situated groups, including Asian American Pacific Islanders, who, like Latinos in this country, are youthful, diverse, non-monolithic communities. In a place like Arizona, that is a place where Latino voters are increasingly powerful. We see this both in terms of their mobilization in the face of xenophobic, anti-immigrant policy regimes of this century. We also see it in the ways in which they're able to drive turnout, not just in terms of the Senate seats, like I mentioned, but supporting Joe Biden in 2020, and then ultimately having a governor and a secretary of state from the Democratic Party in the state of Arizona. That's critical in a state that used to be very, very comfortable with vote by mail and early vote, and is now remains, a hot spot of voter suppression. So Latinos are critical. It's whether they're going to be part of a team of like-minded voters, or whether they're really going to be shaping, because of their numerosity, key outcomes in specific states across this nation.